I was making up a couple of pens for somebody here, and I looked over at my little jar that had the acetone in it, the one that had the plastic plumbing part, and don't you know, it's all cloudy, and I thought, well, that's odd. And on closer examination, I realized that the plastic plumbing piece was just slowly dissolving. And I guess that acetone, some types of plastic, it'll sort of change it, like the acrylic. It made it sort of like cheddar cheese. It was all still there, but it became very crumbly. Other plastics, like the lid on the can, it won't affect. And plastics like plumbing pipe, it'll completely dissolve it. Interesting. Well, it's just after lunchtime the next day. And before we start talking about this stuff, our piece of plumbing pipe, it's completely dissolved, all except for maybe a tiny bit of sludge in the bottom. So can you imagine if I had poured this down my sink and then not flushed it out with clear water afterwards and just let it sit overnight? Yeah. Anyway, I won't be doing that anytime soon. However, after yesterday's video, I went back and I tried to pick some of the acrylic out of the grooves here, and I found I was having quite a hard time. And then all of a sudden I thought, hey, why not use the wire brush on the rotary wire brush? The one that I use for roughing up the brass tubes. So I tried it. It worked great. And I noticed somebody had commented, and he said maybe you better do a sample run before you do anything else. So I made up another piece about the same size. Now this is spruce. I have no idea what this one is. Now it could even be a piece of furniture off the Titanic that's lasted for 100 years or more and ended up on the other side of the continent on the Pacific Ocean side. But you can see it's obviously a different kind of wood. Could be redwood. There's a lot of redwood trees over there. Anyway, I got the texture and everything much the same, and I'm going to try an experiment with this one. Now, as I had mentioned in episode number 1, my mom had picked this up on the beach of Cox Bay on the Pacific Ocean. Now, the sand of that beach was a lot like this, much that color. It wasn't golden. It was volcanic sand. Now here's the plan. What if I was to take and glue this upright in the bottom of this little mold here? This is just the test one. So I guess it would be this one. I glue it in and I have it completely upright. And then I fill it full of acrylic, and instead of being clear like this that came out of here, I would tint it a little bit so it would look kind of like this, to represent the volcanic sand. And I just fill it up so it's only 1/4 of an inch or so thick, and then let it solidify like this. Then later fill it up with clear the rest of the way so that it goes right over the top, like you can see here. If this is glued on the bottom, and if I was to fill it up with clear, and don't put it in the vacuum chamber or anything, just let it set nice and clear. Hopefully it'll work out better than it did before. I won't do any I'll vacuum chamber the clear to get the bubbles out of it, but I won't do it when it's in here. I'll do it before I pour it in. I hope I'm making sense here. Even I hardly know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's see what happens here. This is going to be one of those episodes that I'm going to view later and say, well, this isn't very good. Okay, now I've CA'd it into the bottom, and I'm going to have to treat everything with mold release, so I'm taking a piece of a finger off a rubber glove here, and hopefully I can get it to go over that there. That's good. Now when I spray it with the mold release, it won't saturate the little piece of wood. Now you might be thinking, why didn't I do the mold release first? Well, I thought that perhaps the CA glue may not stick to this plastic, after it's been treated with mold release. In fact, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't. All right, let's give that a whirl. So what I was doing was I was holding it down with my finger and trying to spray around. And as you can imagine now, nothing's going to stick to my finger. Okay, let's mix up a tiny little bit of sort of gray colored acrylic here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 1 drop of white, just so it's made it sort of opaque, okay, and just a hint of black. Otherwise it's going to look black. Now I'm not an expert at this, but I would assume that that's what would happen. Just a tiny little bit. Okay. Now this won't start setting until after I mix the 2 parts together, so I can take my time here. And I used this stick previously for mixing up epoxy. Hopefully that's going to come out gray, not black. Try and hold it so you can see it. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. I may not have mixed it as well as I should have, but I think I got the shade of gray just about the way I remember it. It's been like 20 years ago since I was there. What I did do is forget to put on my rubber gloves. Well, I'll just be real careful, right? Right. Okay, now this is the part B. It pours a lot easier. Now, we only have about 30 minutes to mess around here. Which is going to be more than enough. I'm not even going to start the timer. Okay, I'm just going to stop the camera and stir this for about 5 minutes. Now I realize I didn't show it, but I did degas this for about 5 minutes. Now here is where I'm a little bit concerned, because this plastic can form static electricity, and I've noticed in the past, sometimes when you try to pour, static electricity will pull on the Alumilite. Now, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Oh, I'm lucky this time. I'm just going to fill it up to what appears to be about 1/4 of an inch, and it'll self-level itself under there. I don't want this touching the sides. Well, there, I was lucky. Now we'll let that settle overnight, or harden overnight, and then tomorrow we'll fill it up the rest of the way with clear, and when we break the sides off, well, hopefully it'll be okay. At least that's the plan. In the meantime, I'll clean up the mess I've made here, and thanks for watching.